It's as if he doesn't believe history actually involves a record of things changing. Instead, it's history as let's go back to the Salem witch trials.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. Facts simply can't be reported on leftist media news outlets, so fantasy and conjecture have to be used. CNN has discovered some truly stunning information. Not everybody that went to school with Justice Samuel Alito agrees with him. So on Thursday's New Day, host John Berman opened up the fantasy rant floor with a former Alito classmate, Susan Squire. Now, she's not a lawyer, but, well, she reads a lot.
And he was referring to unborn children rather than fetuses. I was just stunned. I mean, I have read a lot of medical history going back for doing literature and medicine, and his is like a greatest hits of misogyny.
Sure, using the term unborn child makes somebody a misogynist. That makes total sense.
It's as if he doesn't believe history actually involves a record of things changing. Instead, it's history as let's go back to the Salem witch trials.
The Salem witch trials, said the very qualified CNN guest, pining on a court opinion. But of course, she's not a lawyer.
Now, I'm not a lawyer.
But she does read a lot.
I mean, I have read a lot.
Of course, you can see the connection between the leaked Supreme Court opinion and the Salem witch trials if you're an insane CNN guest. Meanwhile, the party of science does not know the difference between sperm, eggs, and fetuses and babies. But heck, it's MSNBC, so let's just give the low IQ a network to call their very own.
Congressman Cori Bush framed it in rather provocative terms about what about the regulation of sperm, right? That's something she talked about, and how that is not part of the conversation at this moment. Explain that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a provocative way of saying it because we were in her office doing an on-the-record but off-camera conversation with a small group of reporters, and she framed it as right now we are looking at regulating uteruses and eggs, but we are not looking at the male side of this equation.
No, the equation doesn't work because no one is regulating uteruses or eggs, and just like sperm, they don't constitute life in and of themselves. That's basic high school biology that you're feeling here, but, well, I'm sure she reads a lot.
I mean, I have read a lot.
Probably like Andrea Mitchell, who managed to pose some far-out ignorant questions this week.
If they care so little about precedent and overruling precedent, what about Brown v. Board of Education? What about other major civil rights rulings of the 60s?
You know, it's interesting. That's a question that you might have said, well, you're going too far, Andrea.
You're going too far, Andrea, because you're not smart enough to realize you're complaining about the potential overturning of a 49-year precedent by citing a case that overturned a 58-year precedent.
The way they came down in terms of breaking precedent, ignoring stare decisis.
And you still let your guest, former AG Eric Holder, go fast and furious to the southern border of Crazy Town with his response.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to reinstitute Plessy versus Ferguson and we're going to have a whole system of American racial apartheid again.
He's not saying that, but he'll certainly mention it and fail to mention that exactly 0 states are proposing bringing back racial segregation. But, you know, it's kind of like that time with the Salem witch trials when the racial apartheid broke out because they didn't regulate the sperm. Somebody on a leftist network told me something about that.
I mean, I have read a lot.
These people are insane. Here's a conversation and a sad attempt at a joke about the Supreme Court leaker on MSNBC.
So do you agree that this is going against the undemocratic will, but this is the only way Republicans can achieve this?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, here's the thing. Here's my feeling about the leaker. I would like to find out who the leaker is so I could make sweet love to that person because that person is a hero to me. Okay? And if the leaker, a lot of people are saying it could be a conservative. If the leaker is a Republican, and if I get pregnant during our lovemaking, I will joyfully abort our fetus and let them know.
Killing babies, it's just a laughing matter at MSNBC. Your visit with insanity brought to you by Choice Hotels. Give them a ring about the choices of networks that they advertise on. Now, not only is leftist media reporting bad, but their jokes are awful, and even their dreams are sick and twisted.
Let's talk about The View right now. You know, there's still an open seat on the co-host panel. What are your dream co-hosts?
So it's funny, she's been to visit the show, but I would love for Hillary Clinton to sit in that. I know she would never come.
I was going to say, do you think she'd do it?
I don't know, but when she comes onto that set, even when the cameras are off, we are grilling her with questions. She's so different in person.
I mean, The View couldn't possibly be any more unwatchable than it is already, and Hillary really does have a lot of time on her hands right now.
Clinton shares the would have been victory speech she wrote leading up to the election.
Speaking of the harpies at The View, the debate this week was, when does an unborn child have rights? Like the right to, life? Well, the answer is, Whoopi don't care.
At what point does a baby in the womb have rights separate from a mother?
It doesn't matter what you think, when you think it is. If I don't think that's when it is.
Is it the ninth month? Is it the third trimester?
But listen.
Whoopi Goldberg doesn't care when others or science decides when life begins. You know, it's all up to Whoopi. You know what else the leftist media doesn't care about? Violent attacks on the offices of pro-life organizations and the discovery that, oh yeah, there was crack pipes in the Biden administration taxpayer-funded safe smoking kits. After all, I guess they weren't just all for Hunter. Little to no coverage on these topics from the nets. ABC's World News Tonight, CBS Evening News, and NBC Nightly News all just let that crack pipe story go up in smoke without any coverage. But they did spend a lot of time on good news this week. Oh yeah, good news from the Biden administration. I'm sure you heard about this. The Consumer Price Index shows the skyrocketing rate of inflation ticked down from 8.5 to 8.3. Are you not excited?
New numbers on inflation show it is slowing down slightly. We're live with that new sign of hope affecting your bottom line.
There's a small glimmer of hope for Americans struggling with rising prices. The rate of increase in inflation slowed very slightly last month, though the annual figure was still close to 40-year highs.
However, used car prices did fall slightly. That may be some good news that inflation may have peaked last month. Hoda?
Finding a little silver lining there, Tom. Thank you so much.
All those indications that we're heading towards a recession just disappeared magically, I guess, huh? What great hope the media has found under Joe Biden.
New sign of hope affecting your bottom line.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'm Eric Shiner for MRCTV, asking you to check out the MRC Store. You can purchase some great gear there. Head over to MRCTV for the latest videos, information, and entertainment. And please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the social media outlets that let you see them. And we'll be back next week with some more leftist media madness.